All right. Well, this week, the AP poll came out. You know you're close to college football when the voters have submitted their ballots. Let's give our instant reactions to the AP poll to kick off today's show. So you got Texas, number one. Raza, we were robbed of having 1 versus 2 in week 1 at the shoe. Instead of Texas, Ohio State 1 and 2, it's Texas, then Penn State, then Ohio State. I got to tell you, though, I do think Penn State is the second best team in the country. You're not going to agree, I'm sure. But what are your
Well,
thoughts?
honestly, my first thought as well was, man, we got robbed of 1v2. My mind went straight to, you might remember this, 2017, Alabama was playing Florida State. Florida State was coming off their huge 2016 season. And I was like, man, I hope that's a 1v2. And they put Florida State 3. I think Clemson was 2 entering that season. And I was like, gosh darn it, like we never get 1v2 in the regular season. I wanted to see it. That was the first thing I thought of. But listen, I think a lot of voters will give the edge to Penn State, and that's totally fine because of how much they returned versus how much Ohio State lost, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But to be honest with you, I didn't really have a problem. I think the top 10, honestly, the top 13 is like pretty perfect. Like everybody would have those teams in their top 12 to 13. My biggest takeaway from this is when you get to 14, I just don't know what Michigan is doing there because we don't know anything about Michigan. It's a team that was bad last year. So many of their best players went to the NFL. They're probably going to start a true freshman at quarterback, albeit Bryce Underwood, who was the top quarterback in the class and is extremely talented. But are they better than Florida? We know what they have with DJ Lagway. SMU, we know what they have with Kevin Jennings. K-State with Avery Johnson, even though you with John Mateer, A&M with Marcel Reed. Like you could go down the list and you're like, I don't see how Michigan's better than these teams. That's my biggest takeaway. And honestly, my biggest problem is it's the block M that's 14, maybe not the roster in Ann Arbor.
Sure, sure. And that's very valid. And you hear that dispute with the AP poll so often, right? The brands that are associated with some of these names and how much stake the voters put in that. Honestly, I agree with you. I don't love Michigan at 14. I think there are a slew of teams that are ranked below them that are better than them. That's honestly not my biggest issue. My biggest gripe with how AP voters do things sometimes is you see Boise State there at 25. I think everybody looked around and said, well, there's got to be a group of 5 team in there somewhere. And
Exactly.
they just slap the best group of 5 team at number 25. You're telling me, look at the other receiving votes. I think Louisville's better than Boise State. I think USC is a top 20 team, let alone a top 25 team, to be honest. I think Georgia Tech could have the same argument that Louisville has there. I think Baylor could have the same argument. Utah. Like, long story short, I just don't like the idea of looking around the room and saying there has to be a group of 5 team because who says there does?
I agree. It's a problem in both the AP and also the College Football Playoff Committee is very guilty of this as well, where I remember, especially in the days of the 4-team playoff, every week it would just be like, let's put the undefeated teams 1, 2, 3. And then the 1-loss teams will round out the top 10. And then the 2-loss teams will be 11 through 15. And then the 3-loss teams. And then at the end, we're going to put, I don't know, UCF. It was for so many years. Like, okay, dude, really, is that the best way to go about this? Is this just going to be the Chat GPT output of rank these teams by most wins to least wins? Like, no, it's not. There's so much more to it. I think there doesn't have to be a group of 5 team in the top 25 because we don't know a lot about the group. It's not like UCF coming off that undefeated season. We knew they were going to be good the year after. Like, Boise State lost Ashton Genty, so they might as well have lost everybody. Like, I like Maddox
They do
Madsen.
bring back their quarterback. Yep.
Maddox Madsen's a good player, and, they're extremely well coached, but, like, it seems like given that they're a top 25 team, right. No, I don't think so. I agree with what you said about the others receiving votes. Maybe they deserve more of a shout, but the thing to keep in mind is this will all play out within the first couple of weeks of the year. Like the week 1 or week 0 AP poll, I should say, just looks so much vastly different than even what it is at the end of September, let alone October, November. So I think it'll all play out, but I totally agree with that point. Like, it's so lazy, in my opinion, with all due respect.